All right, let's jump right into this explainer and demystify English grammar by looking at the literal building blocks of our everyday communication, clauses. Whether you're firing off a quick email, crafting a killer story, or just trying to get your ideas across clearly, understanding how these clauses work gives you total control over your language. It's kind of like architecture. Think of clauses as the fundamental bricks and mortar of every single sentence you ever speak or write. So take a look at this visual map. This is basically our master blueprint for the entire grammatical tree we're exploring today. You can see how neatly everything's organized, right? At the very top, we've got our two main branches, which then cascade all the way down into these highly specific functional categories. Now, don't worry about memorizing this whole thing right now. No way. Instead, we're just going to use this visual guide to navigate through the landscape of English grammar, literally branch by branch, piece by piece. Here's the roadmap we're following. First, the two main clauses. Second, exploring noun clauses. Third, adjective clauses, adding details. Fourth, adverb clauses, providing context. And finally, number 5, our final grammar key points. Okay, section 1, the two main clauses. Let's get right into it. Now, here's the baseline rule. Every clause, no matter what type it is, absolutely has to have a subject and a verb. But the real crux of it is this. Independent clauses express a totally complete thought, while dependent clauses, well, they're like puzzle pieces that just cannot stand alone. Think of an independent clause as a freestanding house. It's totally structurally sound. A dependent clause, though, is more like a balcony. I mean, it has structure, sure, but without the main house to attach to, it's just going to fall flat on the ground. It simply doesn't express a complete thought on its own. Let's look at a super concrete example. The students completed the assignment. This simple sentence perfectly illustrates an independent clause, mainly because it paints a complete, satisfying picture totally on its own. We've got our subject, the students, and our verb, completed. Literally, if I walk into a room and just say this to you, you know exactly what happened. There's no lingering mystery. It stands alone as a perfectly valid sentence. But what about the other side of the tree? If a dependent clause has a subject and a verb but still can't stand on its own, what exactly is its job? Well, since dependent clauses basically need a crutch, let's move down the branches to see how these puzzle pieces actually snap into our sentences to create much more complex, interesting ideas. Moving on to section 2, exploring noun clauses. Check out this table. It outlines the 5 specific roles a noun clause can play. Notice how these clauses actually step in to do the heavy lifting of a single noun. For instance, look at it acting as a subject. What she said was surprising. That entire phrase, what she said, is the subject. Or check out the object role. You wouldn't just say, I know. You'd be left hanging. You need the object, that he is honest. Whether it's acting as a subject complement, the object of a preposition, or in a positive, these clauses are bringing their very own subject and verb to fulfill a structural role. Pretty cool, right? All right, section 3, adjective clauses, adding details. Now, this brilliantly illustrates a tricky rule that honestly trips up so many writers, the difference between defining and non-defining clauses. A defining or restrictive clause gives us absolutely essential information. For example, the student who won the prize is my friend. We literally need the part who won the prize to know exactly which student you're talking about, so no commas needed. But look at the non-defining or non-restrictive clause. Allie, who won the prize, is my friend. Because we already know we're talking about Allie, that clause, who won the prize, merely offers extra non-essential facts. That's exactly why it is carefully separated by commas. It's a tiny punctuation shift, but it completely changes how the information is delivered. And you know what? We can even streamline things further with connective adjective clauses. You can link these clauses seamlessly without even needing relative pronouns like who, which, or that. Take a look at this sentence. The man standing near the door is my uncle. That phrase standing near the door acts beautifully as an adjective clause. It gives us the necessary descriptive detail in a highly efficient, super compact way. That brings us to section 4, adverb clauses, providing context. Okay, this table, it's a fantastic cheat sheet. It organizes all 8 contexts, showing you exactly which connective words act as the glue for these specific puzzle pieces. Notice how immediately a single word signals the context. A time context relies on words like when or while, like when the bell rang, students left. A condition, though, completely changes the stakes using if or unless. If you work hard, you will pass. From reason to result to contrast, every single connective word acts as a distinct signpost, basically telling the listener exactly what kind of context is about to arrive. And finally, Section 5, Final Grammar Key Points. All right, let's bring it all together. Here is your grammatical master checklist. Point 1, a clause always contains a subject and a verb. Point 2, independent clauses express complete, satisfying thoughts. Point 3, dependent clauses cannot stand alone. They're those puzzle pieces waiting to be connected. And point 4, those dependent puzzle pieces are divided into noun, adjective or relative, and adverb clauses. Honestly, if you take away just one core mantra from this whole explainer, let it be this. While every single clause has a subject and a verb, only the independent ones have the strength to stand entirely on their own. Understanding this taxonomy isn't just some boring academic exercise. It is the secret to dynamic, engaging, and crystal clear communication. Mastering these pieces actually gives you total control over the rhythm, the clarity, and the depth of your writing. You now know exactly how to build a freestanding thought and how to attach vibrant contextual details right to it. So ask yourself, now that you literally hold the building blocks of language in your hands, what complex ideas will you construct next?